What's up, everybody? Good to see everybody. I've got some exciting news for my channel and one of my court cases that has been ongoing for a while. I recently released a video showing how much Officer Stacy Brown of the Arlington Police Department lied on the police report and had me arrested 5 months after I recorded her on a traffic stop, and I ended up filing a complaint on her with her supervisor, and she retaliated and filed a false police report, an affidavit. She got a judge to sign it, and I was served with a warrant and picked up. That case is still pending. I have court in a few days for that. And the news is that Officer Stacy Brown has been indicted by the Tarrant County Grand Jury for lying on a police report. I've been telling everybody for almost a year she lied on my police report and Carolina's police report. We've posted it on YouTube. We've published it. But, of course, they choose to maliciously prosecute us. We have video evidence that everything she said on the police report is a lie. And, of course, she's not getting in any trouble for that. But she did get in trouble for lying on these other people's police report. And basically what it comes down to is Officer Stacy Brown's husband runs like a dog kennel or dog training business. And these people, I believe their names were, it's really hard to pronounce. Let me see if I can find it on my phone. Their name is I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's spelled Indukws. That's a photo of them with their dog. These people right here. They left their dog with Officer Stacy Brown's husband while they went on a honeymoon to Europe. Well, their dog died, hotboxed in a van, while this man was in a meeting for over an hour. He left the dog in the cage in the van, came back to the van, the dog was dead. I can't pronounce it, but these people were calling trying to check in with their dog for over a week, and they were ignored. And then when they finally found out that their dog was dead, they realized that the dog had been dead over a week. So they immediately stopped their honeymoon. They flew back to America. And, okay. Sorry about that. I just got a text. They flew back to America, and they started posting online how terrible this dog kennel service was. And, of course, the man, Mr. Brown, was running this out of his home. So they posted the business and the address and all that stuff. And they even mentioned, hey, this guy's wife is a Arlington police officer. So what does Stacy Brown do? She retaliates against these people, files a false police report on them for harassment. And anyways, I guess these people right here have some pull. But, okay, after they went public, 2 other families went public saying their dogs died in their care too. Anyways, yeah. So she got indicted on, let's see right here. Okay. Officer Stacy Brown was indicted by a Tarrant County grand jury on December 11th, according to the Arlington Police Department. Brown is now on leave pending the outcome of an administrative investigation by Arlington Police Department Internal Affairs Unit. Of course, paid vacation. She turned herself into the Tarrant County Jail on January 9th and bonded out shortly after that. Here's a news clip of what happened, and then I'm going to show you guys clips of the encounter where I was recording her on the traffic stop, and then I'm going to show you her police report and her lies about that. Let's get into it. You guys share this around. This is great news. This means my case should be dismissed immediately, but of course, they probably won't do it. They'll probably get her twin sister to show up in court and testify for her. Anyways, that's 2 female officers that have arrested me for recording for doing nothing wrong, that have tarnished records. One's on the Brady list. This woman just got indicted. She'll be on the Brady list. What's going on?
Officer Stacy Brown is a founding member of Arlington PD's DWI unit.
Okay, because of the fair use and copyright laws, I have to stop and give my opinion through this news article, and it is my opinion that Stacy Brown is a piece of shit.
But now she's on the other side of the law, indicted for retaliation last month in connection to her husband Alan's criminal case.
At least we can rest that Brooklyn didn't just die in vain.
This, Masera and Amika Indukwe. They left their dog Brooklyn with Alan last summer to be trained and boarded while they enjoyed a European honeymoon. Alan is the owner of Canine Direction in Arlington, but their honeymoon was cut short when Alan told the couple that Brooklyn had died while in his care. The Indukwe's took to Facebook and Yelp posting Alan's home information, where he operated some of his business, and warning others about their experience, even offering up that he was married to an Arlington officer.
I can actually arrest you for it.
Stacy Brown.
I guess Officer Stacy Brown and her husband figured this would be an easy business since she's already into locking humans in cages and feeding them dog food and water for a living. She just figured that her husband could take care of dogs and lock them in cages, give them water and dog food every now and then. Easy money, right? Man, these people that can do these kind of things are not good people, man. These people are trash.
Brown then filed a police report against the Indukwe's, claiming that they published her and her husband's information online to cause harm or the threat of harm to her on account of her service or status as a public servant. Police never pursued the case.
If it didn't happen today, it would have happened sooner or later.
But since the Indukwe's post, 2 other families who lost a pet in Alan's care came forward. All 3 cases were taken up by the DA's office, which turned into animal cruelty charges. Officer Brown indicted for a felony charge of retaliation for making a false police report in retaliation against the Indukwe's, who had reported the occurrence of a crime.
This is going to be a Signal 18, probably?
She is now on leave pending an administrative investigation. She's been with APD for 18 years.
Let's hope Officer Stacy Brown never has the opportunity to terrorize the citizens of Texas anymore, and she's never able to violate anybody's civil rights ever again. And I hope she gets indicted and gets charges for lying on my report. Now, you guys, I'm going to take you to the night of March 4th, 2022, and I'm just going to briefly go over this video. This is where I was recording Officer Stacy Brown, and she lost her mind and gave me all kind of unlawful orders. I filed a complaint on her, and she retaliated like she likes to do, filed a false affidavit, got a judge to sign it, all because she didn't get her little freaking way. And 5 months later, I was unlawfully arrested by this piece of trash right here, Officer Stacy Brown. I'm not going to play the whole video. I'm just going to play the highlights, and I'm going to show you where she lied on the affidavit. If you guys want to watch the whole video, it'll be in the description and at the end of the video. Arlington Police. Bunch of road pirates over here. Oh, look, she's using prior restraint. Huh? Oh, you're welcome.
Back up away from my car.
Hey, I don't need your unlawful directives. Use prior restraint. You're violating my First Amendment. I'm not interfering. Interfering is a physical act. Interfering is a physical act. Go back to work. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about, ma'am. 38.15 says I have to be interfering in a physical manner. Ma'am, Houston versus Hill says speech cannot be interfering, ma'am. Houston versus Hill. This is Turner versus Driver. Turner versus Driver says I am allowed to film you. I am not interfering. You put your hands on me, you will get sued. You go right ahead and make my day. You need to learn the law.
He says, the male suspect proceeded to walk within 5 feet of your affiant's patrol vehicle on the passenger side. Affiant is the woman riding it. So she's saying Harvey walked up within 5 feet of her car. The male used a flashlight and directed the light into the front passenger window of this patrol unit. The male was holding up what appeared to be a cell phone, recording the investigation. Your affiant exited the patrol vehicle and told the male to step back. The suspect did not comply and started to yell something. Your affiant directed the male to stand near a tree, which was in the far northeast corner of the parking lot. Your affiant pointed towards the tree and directed the male to stand over near the tree. But that the male continued to stand within 5 feet of my patrol car and would not comply. Your affiant warned the male that if he did not stand by the tree, he would be interfering and would be placed under arrest. The male continued to yell and not comply, and he continued to stand 5 to 10 feet from the passenger door of the patrol vehicle. Your affiant had to walk towards the male to get him to start to move away from the patrol vehicle. The male moved to the first parking space but did not stand up on the raised median near the tree. Then she says, your affiant had to walk from the patrol vehicle towards the male to get him to back away. This caused your affiant to take all attention away from the drunk driving vehicle, stopped, and walk with your affiant's back to the persons inside the vehicle. She's saying she had to turn her back towards the alleged drunk drivers. But this whole time she was saying he was not complying. Let's see what really happened, shall we? Now remember, she said that he was standing 5 feet from her passenger door and refused to move. He would not comply. That's what she said. Let's see. Well, that's funny. This woman said that he was standing 5 feet from her vehicle and refused to comply. But I see him over here. See how she initiated conversation? In her affidavit to the judge, she made it seem like Harvey was menacing and standing over her vehicle. Look how far back he is. He's like way far back. He's not 5 feet from her vehicle like she claims.
Houston versus Hill says speech cannot be interfering, ma'am. Houston versus Hill. This is Turner versus Driver. Turner versus Driver says I'm allowed to film you.
As you all can see very clearly, when she was approaching me and screaming at me, that I was backing up. I was backpedaling for citizen safety, of course.
I don't want you standing right there.
They're using fire restraint
over there by the tree.
I'm not going to stand by him. I'll stand over here.
You're interfering with my investigation.
How am I interfering?
Stand over there.
How am I interfering?
You're using prior restraint with your light. Ma'am, Turner versus Driver.
I'll give you a place, a location.
What you say is not the law. Just because we want your supervisor here now. Supervisor now. Supervisor now. Name and badge number. Supervisor now. Get your supervisor here now. You are out of control. Go back to work and leave us alone. Turner versus Driver. You cannot tell us where to stand. No, you can't. We want your supervisor here now.
Listen to what she wrote. Your affiant looked back over towards the vehicle, stopped, and noticed a female walking up towards the front driver's side of your affiant's patrol vehicle to be within 10 feet. At the time, the patrol driver's side door was still open with the engine running. Your affiant was equipped with an AR-15 right inside the patrol vehicle. Your affiant walked around the back side of the patrol vehicle towards the front and addressed the female, which was also holding up a cell phone. It appeared at the time that the male had drawn me towards him, so the female would be able to walk up behind your affiant. I approached the female and gave her the same command to stand over by the tree, or she would be interfering with my investigation. The female would not comply, so your affiant had to walk towards her to get her to move towards the tree. She walked very slowly towards the driver's side door of the vehicle, stopped, walked into the 5th parking spot, walked around the front area of the vehicle, stopped, and back around onto the parking lot area near the passenger side of the vehicle, stopped. She was within inches of the front bumper of the vehicle, stopped. when walking around the passenger side. As your affiant was dealing with the female, the male suspect stepped off the curb and back onto the parking lot. He started to walk back towards the passenger side of the vehicle stopped and stood in the second parking spot. This put him within 10 feet of the vehicle stopped and 10 feet from your affiant's patrol vehicle. Both male and female would not comply. So this officer called backup units to respond. Code. These actions of both male and female suspects were distracting your affiant's attention from the vehicle stop, halting the investigation.
Get your supervisor here now.
I want y'all on that curb over there. If you don't get on that curb, what's the difference with this grassy?
Let's go over Texas Penal Code 38.15, interference with public duties. Now, I know most of my regular viewers know this penal code very well and understand it, but you have to remember law enforcement watches my channel all the time too. So let's try to educate them on their job and on this penal code. It says a person commits an offense of interference with public duty if the person with criminal negligence interrupts, disrupts, impedes, or otherwise interferes with a police officer. Criminal negligence, that means something that is not against the law cannot be used as interference. Something like recording, standing a safe distance away and recording is not criminal negligence. As a matter of fact, it is protected under the First Amendment. Turner versus Driver, it is protected. So for a police officer to turn this into a crime means the police officer is actually the criminal. Now, if you go down to subsection D, it even states that it is a defense from prosecution under this section that the interruption, disruption, impediment, or interference consists of speech only. That means nothing that I say can be used as interference because it is protected free speech. Even if I'm verbally abusing police officers, the Supreme Court has ruled in the City of Houston versus Hill that abusive speech towards police officers is protected under the First Amendment. Let's get on with the video.
What's the difference between that? If you get any closer, you're considered interfering with my investigation.
You don't know what you're talking about. No, you don't.
You've been told where to stand.
You are.
To be placed
I want your supervisor here now.
Stand not in the parkway. Right there, sir.
Get your supervisor here now.
Come any closer.
I want your name and badge number and supervisor.
Okay, so the supervisor showed up, Sergeant Wheatley, I believe his name was, and I did file an on-site complaint on her. I have it clearly video documented. So how she was able to put out a sworn affidavit and get a judge to put out a warrant for my arrest after I filed a complaint on her is just mind-blowing to me. But that's what happened. Several months later, I was recording a traffic stop in Fort Worth, Texas, as you can see here in Carolina's footage. And they just came up and grabbed me and arrested me because they knew I had that warrant that Officer Stacy Brown lied on and had me arrested on. Y'all make sure to redress your grievances. All the links will be in the description. Let's see if we can't help persuade the powers that be to put out another indictment on Stacy Brown for lying on my police report. And let's see if we can't get my charges dropped.